Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And I know it's been a week. And yeah, it's been a week indeed. So you may recall, and that's meant there to be sort of a double meaning sort of thing. So the last show was a week ago, last Monday. Did not do a show on Friday, as I suspected I would not be able to because of other obligations where I had to wind up picking somebody up from the airport at about the time that I record the show, but I actually had other things to do Friday morning as well, and I was actually on the road most of Friday from early morning until late afternoon. And there just was not time to wind up getting a show done, and then I had to get some stuff done to wind up preparing for the LPNH state convention that was Saturday. That was an incredibly long day. And video of that convention should be coming out fairly soon. Ian Freeman actually wound up doing the video recording of the convention. And I knew we needed 2 days for a convention, but we wound up only having 1 day and not getting all of the business done that needed to be done. And so now there's discussion about having a special convention at some point in the not too distant future. But luckily, I am not going to be in charge of that, and I hope that I'm not actually involved in the convention committee of that, because, well, I'm no longer chair of the state party, and I'm happy about that. So it was not a thing to where I wound up losing an election. I voluntarily stepped down because a year and a half as chair of the party was enough. The party wound up growing drastically in the year and a half that the outgoing executive committee was the executive committee. We were all reelected a year ago. So we got elected during a special convention. 6 months later, got reelected during a regular convention. And then 4/5 of the officers wound up not running again for various reasons. So I am still technically on the executive committee as the immediate past chair, which means that I'll still be involved in the party. I'm just no longer the guy that is in charge of the party. And again, I'm very glad that I'm not, because it was just getting, mentally taxing a little bit. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I, say all of that to explain why there was no show on Friday. And for the foreseeable future, I am 99% certain that I will be able to wind up getting out 2 shows per week. But again, I'm still deciding or still debating with myself about at episode 550, reducing it to 1 show per week. And that would be, if I do that, we're at episode 540 right now. So 2 shows per week. So in about 5 weeks, so basically the end of May, beginning of June, I might wind up just doing 1 show a week. And if I do that, I will try to schedule the shows to come out the end of the week. So I might actually wind up recording on a Wednesday or a Thursday, but not uploading the show until Friday, which I know is what a lot of people that do podcasts do, is they'll record the show on one day and then upload later in the week. Whereas the way I do the podcast, I do live to tape and then upload immediately. Just because it's so much easier that way. Then I don't forget of, oh, right, did I upload that thing that I recorded 2 days ago? So again, something that I'm thinking about, and I would love feedback. So just shoot an email to feedback@fppradio.com, or you can use the anonymous, if you want it to be anonymous, contact form on the website ama.fppradio.com. So we're about 5 minutes into the show, and I realize that I've basically just been rambling about the last week and various things that I've been debating with myself about. So let's actually wind up jumping into the article that I have that I want to go over. And I've actually, I believe I have two stories here, and yeah, one of them somehow did not show up in the browser window at first, but then I realized, somehow I've got two browser windows for the same browser opened up, and the one story is in the other one, which explains why I didn't see it originally. But as you may or may not know, if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that I wound up losing a lot of weight in about a year. And since then, I've kind of, I don't want to say I've struggled with my weight, but I've worked really hard to keep it off. And there was a period of time right after I lost a bunch of weight where, and this is one of those things to where, you listen to somebody that you think is smarter than you, and it winds up not being the best idea, to where when I got down originally to about 172 pounds, which was a 145-pound weight loss for me. The owner of the gym that I was going to, where it was, one of those small one-facility gyms, it wasn't, some big megacorp. So I actually saw the owner. She said, "Darryl, you've lost too much weight. You need to put some weight back on." And so for a little bit of time, I was, all right, I guess I need to put some weight back on. And I just sort of not really, keeping a super close eye on what I ate or whatnot, and wound up putting about 30 pounds back on. And I was not happy about it, and wound up late 2016 deciding, you know what, I'm going to get this weight back off. And so through 2017, I was losing weight again, getting back to that 170 to 175 range, where I was for most of 2017. I was even in that range at the beginning of this year, and then, well, I'll explain what happened in moments here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
So, late 2017, early 2018, I was in about the weight range I wanted to be. But because I did a lot of running last year, and when I say a lot, I realize that is relative. It was a lot for me. It was more running than I had done in probably my entire lifetime. Not that I ever really kept track of my running prior to 2016, which would mean that, well, I know there was about a 20-year period where I wasn't doing any running at all. So from basically the time I graduated high school until 2015, summer of, when I tried doing some running, and I'm using air quotes there because I was still dealing with a knee injury where I couldn't really run, but I could, walk fairly fast. I didn't keep track of any running. Then 2016 is when I really started keeping track using an app on my phone. So 2016, from June until the end of the year, and there was no running prior to, or if there was, I wasn't tracking it. So 2016, I ran about 37 miles total for the year. And then there was some walking that I logged, so 46 miles-ish that I logged of running or walking as officially logged exercise. That's not counting just random walking around doing, normal daily activity stuff. And then in 2017, I began logging my stuff in March. And from March through the end of the year last year, I went almost 600 miles. So again, a huge leap, a lot of running. So I took January and February as what I considered off-season. And during those 2 months of off-season, I still logged more miles running than I did running all of 2016. And then early March, I was dealing with something that I believe to be tendonitis in my left ankle. And so I had a couple of weeks where I did not do anything. And I talked about that and how it wound up being, I was not in a good mental place. And because of, that lack of activity, if you will, which again was more activity than I put in all of 2016 as far as running, I put on some weight. And also about the same time, I started taking some supplements to try to help building muscle. And I've noticed that I've gained some strength, but I have not really gained some muscle mass. And, I've put on some weight and not in a way that I'm happy about. So, again, I'm going to try working that off, and I really want to drop about another 15 to 20 pounds. So, you can say that I've been struggling with my weight since dropping 145 pounds. And that's what I want to wind up talking about. Not the struggles with weight per se, but some of the side effects of weight loss, specifically the ones that not many people really talk about, and they're things that I wasn't really prepared to wind up dealing with. This article comes from myfitnesspal.com, which MyFitnessPal is connected to the Map My Run and Map My Fitness, which are both apps that are products from Under Armour. Not that I wind up necessarily purchasing Under Armour clothing, but I do wind up using the Map My Run app, and I'm actually one of the paid members. I don't know if member is the right thing, but, I pay for the service to wind up getting upgrades of what sort of functionalities I have. So let me jump into the article, and yes, as always, the link will be in the show notes. The article begins, when we begin a weight loss journey, we often have a vision of what our body and life will be like when we reach our goal weight. But the reality is typically different. Patrick O'Neill, Ph.D., director of the Medical University of South Carolina Health Weight Management Center, says weight loss is something that, for people who need it, can make a huge positive impact in their lives, physically and psychologically. But weight is such a complicated and publicly visible matter that sometimes weight loss is a mixed blessing. Here is how to handle 8 typical consequences of losing weight that nobody tells you about. Number 1, excess skin. And this is one that, I've definitely been dealing with, is the excess skin problem. O'Neill explains if you're losing a significant amount of body fat, the body fat has been under your skin, protruding and helping to keep the skin taut. Depending on your genes, age, and how much weight you lose, your skin will recover somewhat. He says resistance training to build muscle can help some, so try that first. You may also choose to talk to a plastic surgeon about surgery to remove the skin. And this is something I was actually having a conversation with somebody last night about, where I forget how we got on the topic, but I wear compression clothing up under my regular clothes. And he said, why do you do that? Well, what are you compressing? I said, all of the loose skin that I have. He said, wait, you've still got loose skin? Like, it's been 3 years since you lost weight. How do you still have loose skin? And I was like, because I was big for most of my life and I'm 40. So this is where the whole age thing comes in. And the next thing on the list here of things that people don't really talk about sort of in some way connects in with the excess skin thing for me as far as how I wind up viewing myself. And it's not a body dysmorphia sort of thing to where, like I can see my abs, but I still think I'm a fat guy. I have never in my life been able to see my abs. And, that's one of the hardest things for me is I want to be able to see my abs. Like, I can see some definition in my arms. I can see some definition in my legs. But I don't see definition in my torso at all. And that connects it with number 2, the living in your old body that we will get into here in moments on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook. Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
This is Brian McQuaid from the Resist the Empire podcast, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. We will continue going over the list here of 8 things about weight loss, the 8 common side effects of weight loss that most people don't really talk about. And the title here is that nobody talks about, and the truth is that some people do, but it's not really something that a lot of people are very vocal about, and it's not something, most of these are not things that I was mentally prepared for when I began losing weight just over 3 years ago. But let me sort of change gears here for a moment before jumping back into the article, and let me tell you about something that is wonderful technology. And something that, 3 years ago, I never would have envisioned this as possible. Talking about Zencash. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With well over 10,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for communications and cryptocurrency built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet is available for multiple platforms in multiple languages. Platforms include, but I don't think are limited to Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. So jumping back into the article here of 8 common side effects of weight loss that not a lot of people talk about. Again, the first is the excess skin. Second on the list is living in your old body. When you grow up being teased for being heavier, this is Sophia Ryden-Gray, PhD of Behavioral Health, or rather PhD, Behavioral Health Director at Duke Diet and Fitness Center. She says, when you grow up being teased for being heavier, you incorporate that as part of your self-image. When you lose weight, unless you develop a realistic image of yourself, you may continue to think of yourself as a bigger person. Movement is a great way to help tune in to your body, or consider keeping one piece of larger clothing and putting it on to see how much bigger it is now. Looking at photos of you at your starting weight may also help you see the changes in your body. And again, I said that ties in with the first for me about the excess skin. And what I mean there is because, like I can see definition in my legs. I can see some definition in my arms. But I have never seen my abs in my entire life. I've still got some upper torso fat and loose skin that I don't like. And so, even though I know I'm a lot smaller now than I was, I'm in a lot better health now than I was, I still, in some ways, see myself as a fat guy. And a lot of that has to do with that's what I see when I look in a mirror. And again, this is not something that, anybody ever told me. This is not something I've ever heard people talk about. I've known a lot of people that have had some pretty drastic weight loss, and I've never heard anybody talk about some of these things. Now, I was aware of the loose skin thing, but I was not told about the, living in your old body thing. And for the longest time, I was still buying 2 and 3X shirts, even though, I could have gotten away wearing an XL. I now wear a large, and larges are a little big. But again, because of, what I see when I'm naked, I don't feel comfortable wearing a medium, even though I could probably fit into a medium and it would not wind up looking horrible. But, part of that is I justify I've always worn baggy clothes. Next is comments from friends and family. Dr. O'Neill says, often weight plays more of a role in some relationships than we might appreciate at first. Your friends and family may not always be supportive of your weight loss. If someone questions why you're no longer eating certain foods or why you're always going to the gym, explain why losing weight is important to you. If a friend says you're getting too skinny, say, thanks for the concern, but I've spoken to my doctor and I'm healthy for my weight. And see, this is something that, because that comment to me came from the owner of the gym, who, she's got all kinds of certifications and whatnot because she had them hanging on her wall. I was, she knows better than I do, even though I was not happy with the way I looked. I knew that I still wanted to lose a few pounds because, again, I wanted to be able to see my abs. I still want to be able to see my abs. And I'm working on getting there, and hopefully I will, and hopefully I won't need some kind of surgery to remove the excess skin, although I probably will. Next on the list is attention from strangers. And they say here, often when women lose weight, they find that they get more attention from men. If this is discomforting, you feel vulnerable or you fear relationships and intimacy, speak to a therapist. Dr. O'Neill says clients sometimes say the fat has been a protection. Oftentimes there are other issues bound up in that. In some cases, there may be a history of sexual abuse. It's important to work through this with a professional. Stay tuned. There's more here in the closing moments on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
So before I jump back into the article and speed through the last couple of things here on the list of 8 things that most people don't really talk about in regards to weight loss, especially extreme weight loss, I want to ask you a question very quickly. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you use and promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? If so, then you need SpendABit in your arsenal. SpendABit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. They've aggregated millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.fppradio.com. So next on the list is you need to, if you've had extreme weight loss or any weight loss for that matter, realize that life isn't really that different. When researchers studied 1,979 overweight and obese adults over 4 years, they discovered weight loss was associated with a reduction in health risk, but not with psychological benefits. When you're in the active weight loss phase, it's the honeymoon period where you start seeing results and gaining confidence. When you are in maintenance, you're not getting that regular feedback, and you may not land that job or have the girlfriend that proposes the way you thought you would. Think back to why you wanted to lose weight. What were your deeper motivations? It can help to explore what you feel is missing in your life and the barriers to achieve those things with a therapist. They say that worry that it's not real. When you have a weight loss in the past and later regained it, you may think you can't lose weight. If you think your current weight loss isn't real, listen to your self-talk and come up with counterpoints. Dr. O'Neill suggests pretending the weight loss is real. How would you behave differently? Why not do that now? Remember that you have tools and skills that you have used to lose weight. Keep using those things, and it will be real. There might be some marriage conflicts or relationship issues that come up, and I will skip to the 8th item on the list here in the closing minute. You still need work. Dr. O'Neill says, losing weight is one challenge. Keeping it off is a whole new challenge. By now, many of the skills you adopted in order to lose weight are habits, so keep doing them. And be prepared to set facebacks. Identify the most critical pieces of your weight control problem or program that you can do if your weight starts to trend upwards. Now remember, every Friday I answer your questions. Send those over, ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.